So I want to talk about adjusting some of these shadows before we get into maybe adjusting some more of these materials here. And let me turn back on this Arnold render view. Some lights, the shadows are determined by the lights. And so some lights have soft shadows, some lights have harder shadows. This direction light has a hard shadow or gives off a hard shadow. And let me take that out of here. Maybe I will actually embed this in the side, in this panel too, so we can see it while we adjust some of our shadows. And so let me select our light. I'm going to select the direction light here. And I can adjust the shadows of this light, not under the shadow tab, but under the Arnold tab. And under Arnold, we are going to go down to here it says cast shadows and shadow density. But the way that I can maybe make some of these shadows a little bit softer, first I can change the shadow intensity here, so that will make them overall softer. And these objects are pretty close together, so they would cast a kind of hard shadow. But if I change the angle of the light, that will give it a softer kind of edge. And you can see that happening here in processing as the render is happening. Let's take a look at this spotlight, and quickly just adjust. I just want to adjust the angle or the drop off by a little bit here. So we have nice kind of soft. We have this as a soft shadow. I see this edge here though that's being created maybe perhaps by the point light. I don't know. Let's go and see if the point light needs its shadows adjusted. If I want soft shadows. But the point light's not necessarily going to have, I don't want to use the shadow tab. I'm going to go under Arnold here. But point light isn't going, it's going to have a radius. So it might be maybe important to adjust the radius. But because maybe this light is actually causing the shadows as that directional light again, and just the angle of it. So these are the ways, under the Arnold tab here, this is how we can adjust for the way that the light creates shadows for us. If I go to my direction light here in the scene, let me move it so I can see it. And these are all things that we want to play with and adjust. Go back to Arnold here, and I just hit R to rotate, but because I'm in this render view panel, I turned off the RGB value. So different hotkeys do different things depending on whatever panel you're in. So let me actually hit E, change adjust the direction. So this shadow here, we can see this hard line is created from the point light. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to select the point light like that. I can select it like this. Maybe I'll just turn down the shadow density for the point light. It's not the point light, perhaps. It is the... Again, I need to... I'm hitting the wrong key in the wrong window. Okay, so now I can see which lights are responsible for which shadows. So as it turns out, it is this cone light that is giving off this harder shadow. Spotlight, rather. So let's go and adjust the shadows for this light. See if there's a way that I can lens radius maybe. Ah, there we are. Not lens radius, but radius will adjust for the softness here of the spotlight shadows. So you can see we still have a bit of graininess and noise. This is still rendering, taking a while to render, but you get a kind of idea on how to adjust shadows here. So I'm gonna stop this, and I don't want it to over process. And let's take a look at some of these other objects that I have, particularly this one. I'm curious to see how this is rendering. So let's go ahead and press play. And it might be a good idea to really get a sense of this to add a kind of background. So one way I can add a background, and let me collapse this here so I have my render view open and my scene. One way to add a background is actually to add a, we can just add, let's add a polygon plane to the background, and I'm going to scale this up, and let me rotate it. This plane, and let me make sure that it's behind all my objects. So this is one way, and because it's, even though it looks, because the light's very intense, I just want to make sure that this plane is covering the background. But here you see now I have a surface, and this surface has shadows being cast onto it. But it's a way to have a little bit more interest going on in your scene, to place either an object in the background, or there are other ways you can add interest in the background. But here we can see now that this transparent green is really showing up. I don't see it here in the scene, and that it's casting like a really nice kind of diffuse green light right here on this metallic surface behind it. The metallic surface, that might be something that I want to adjust as well. The purple, let's see what the purple looks like. If the purple ambient glow if it's letting off any kind of glow, and it's not really glowing, I think I would want to use that mesh light, but I'm not sure if I can make a mesh light from a surface. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's not a mesh, so I can't work with surface. We can work with that maybe in the final.